Sonia and I were thinking for this week that we would do this sort of media wrap up where we talk about, well, all what's going on in the worlds of movies, telecoms, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to bring up is this nostalgia marketing roundup that I've noticed in a few movie premieres that have come out. So we have Freaky Friday. Lindsay Lohan and crew are doing the movie premiere that I think is coming out this week. I saw that they're incorporating a lot of like Parent Trap elements to it. So they had Chessie and Meredith, like the actresses that play them, show up at the premiere, which I thought was really fun. And then we also have Lindsay Lohan dressed or like the clothing she's wearing is referencing some of her Parent Trap outfits, which is kind of funny. And then they, came out with I think they did it was like a band show for like Pink Slip, which is the band in the movie. Um and she's wearing like a pink slip shirt. So just really tying it all in together to like referencing all the stuff that like when you first saw the original Freaky Friday and Parent Trap, you kind of like remember all those things. And that also came up with the Fantastic Four premiere. I think it was the one in New York where they had the previous cast members for the previous Fantastic Fours come out, and they were invited to the premiere, and they had their photos there. So I thought it was like a nice way to kind of like incorporate all the folks that have like participated in the franchise or the previous franchises, and like include them in like the newer version that's like coming out as well.
Yeah, that's fun. I think I bet people are really gonna like the Freaky Friday revival.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny that like it was meant, referencing Parent Trap, right? Because it's just tying in, Lindsay Lohan's, previous, work and like, her coworkers, as I was calling them, 'cause, from the movie. So it's like kind of tying in like all these things that, one could say it's like, it doesn't really have to do with the movie, aside from the fact that, Lindsay Lohan starred in both of the movies. And it's these things that it's a similar audience, right? Like, the people who watch The Parent Trap are probably the ones who are also most likely to go watch, the Freaky Friday sequel, who are also the folks that, saw the original Freaky Friday. So I thought it was a nice way to kind of tie it all together. And it kind of activates, across, platform. Everything that kind of is calling back to this nostalgia. So the premiere stunts, the outfit callbacks, music reunions, it all is just like one thing that's like, referencing all of like Lindsay Lohan's work, which I thought was pretty cool.
Cool. And then also over the past weekend, the Happy Gilmore 2 premiered on Netflix. That was a lot of fun. I love the first movie when it had come out, so it's nostalgic for me. I thought it was a lot of fun. But they also did a bunch of marketing activations that I thought were pretty cool and worth mentioning. So for one, Spotify launched an in-app promotional game, the Happy Gilmore 2 tournament, where you tilt your phone to make golf swings. You can unlock film audio clips, theme playlists, stuff like that. And Subway also brought back its limited Happy Gilmore meal, which includes some collectible character cups. There are some QR codes linking to an interactive hub. And yeah, I mean, they also did a bunch of live or experiential stuff. Like there was, yeah, Netflix staged an in-character appearance by Shooter McGavin at the at the WM Phoenix Open Golf Tournament. So there's
That's
just a
funny.
yeah, just
It
a
makes sense because the WM one is supposed to be like the funnest, like, and most laid back golf tournament that's out there. I learned those from the Netflix show.
huh.
So it's cool that they kind of have that. I also saw that Scotty Scheffler showed up in the movie, who's like
Yeah,
um,
he's in it. Rory McIlroy is in it too.
mhm,
Yeah, and then the movie itself just has a ton of cameos from
mhm.
the golf community, but also the usual celebrities. So it's overall, I thought it was a really fun movie. They clearly had a lot of fun with the production of it, but also now the marketing of it. And yeah, I mean, like I look, I like, do I think a very deep work of art. No, it's
But
it's
neither was
Happy
Happy
Gilmore.
Gilmore,
Yeah,
right?
right,
So
no, exactly. So, like, I think what I've seen, if anyone doesn't like it, like I've been saying, if you went out of your way to watch Happy Gilmore 2 and you didn't like it, I think that says more about you than Happy Gilmore in the sense that what did you expect? Like, the
Mhm.
movies, I thought it was exactly what I would have wanted it to be or would have thought it would be. So,
Yeah, especially as a
yeah.
fan, right? Like
Yeah. Totally, and also, like, if you're gonna say, like, "Oh, it's not my kinda humor," or "It's not my thing," that's totally defensible, but what I'm saying more so is, like, well, if it isn't your thing, why would you watch it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's I was telling Amanda that it's not really my humor,
Yeah.
and she's right. I am not gonna go watch it, you know?
Yeah, don't.
And that's the thing, right? Like, why would I watch it when I know it's like it's not really in my realm of like movies that I like watching, you know? But
Totally.
it sounds like Amanda really enjoyed it. So that's no, but that's the whole thing, right? It's like
Yeah.
Amanda was a fan of the original movie and like knew what to expect. So I agree that like if you're kind of going into it expecting, you know, a good, you know, I don't know, like an Oscar worthy movie, like that's not what this is, right? And that does
Hey,
say
if you're
more about you.
totally, if you're looking for, like, "Oh, is this a new groundbreaking genre of comedy?" No, it's not.
Mhm.
It's a trip down memory lane with a couple of fresh things.
Yeah. There you go. Um, Well, cool. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that we're seeing, they just announced that F1 will be back in IMAX in August, which I think is really funny because this is after we hear that Sinners is going to come back as well on IMAX. So I'm starting to see this as a new avenue for movie theaters, especially, you know, IMAX theaters to, you know, be bringing back some of the most popular movies during what's essentially like a dead month, right? Like August isn't the most popular, you know, month for movies, and for like movie premieres. So the fact that they're using it to like host, you know, some of the movies that have been most popular this year is really smart of them to like, you know, try to bring back additional money. And I saw that this
Yeah.
was also a thing that we mentioned when we were talking about Tom Cruise, is that Tom Cruise is trying to like use IMAX as like this thing that brings people back to the movies, as like like bringing back movies that were like popular, you know, back in the day, or you know, this year. I think this year's the first time that they've done re-releases of like movies that have come out this year. We've previously seen that movies like, you know, The Matrix and Star Wars have been like featured. So now I think it's, you know, an innovative solution to be, you know, re-releasing movies that were popular this year. Because why not, you know, like
Yeah.
get
No,
people back to the movie theaters.
I think it's smart because it's funny when Sonia first brought this up or like before we decided on today's topics, I was kind of like, wait, why is this significant? So
Yeah.
F1's an IMAX, like, yeah, that's the thing, IMAX.
Yeah.
But she pointed out that it's the first time that we're seeing that kind of re-release
Hmm.
where it's the same year. And now I'm realizing too, this is a great opportunity because August is a kind of a quiet, dead, kind of a quiet month. But you could also look at it as like, so everybody who kind of missed out the first time in
Hmm.
F1 is probably now like, "Oh, I wanted to see that." I'm like, "Oh, cool, it's gonna be an IMAX now." Like, "Wait, the kids are back in school at the end of the month.
Hmm.
Let's go to a lunchtime showing." You know, like you can
Yeah.
see like the consumer behavior where that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
with IMAX, right? Like you're when you buy an IMAX ticket, you're buying the IMAX experience.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it makes sense where if that's the kind of experience you want, then it doesn't make sense for you to wait till it hits the streaming service.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're spot on saying that, you know, people that missed it the first go round, and I'm sure lots of, you know, repeats are of people are going to go back. But you know, sometimes people need to hear that a movie is like really good before they'll actually go. So the fact that they're getting another chance to like go back is pretty cool. This also reminds me of we didn't talk about it because it happened I think the week you were gone, but what's happened with Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, where like AMC like basically sold out of like the IMAX screenings for the movie that's coming out in 2026 because people are like so excited about it. It's really, I think, showing that like IMAX has become its own like experience now, that like people want to go. It's not just about seeing the movie, it's about seeing it in IMAX as its own like, separate thing. So I think the fact that, the theaters that have it available, which isn't everywhere, that actually, we do have to call that out, that it's only really in major cities that have like IMAX theaters because they have like, the bigger theaters and stuff. Um, but maybe that's a thing that like as like movie theaters start thinking about the things that they can do to bring people back to the theater, it's doing this. It's like having the movies that people want to see over and over again, and then also maybe calling back and bringing back some of the movies that have been popular in the past in order to try to bring people back to the theater.
Yeah, totally. And then our last line item here is Warner Brothers and Discovery is going to be splitting up. So effective 2026, WBD will be split into two separate publicly traded companies to sharpen their strategic focus. So streaming and studios will be with Warner Brothers. This unit will house Warner Brothers Film and TV Studios, HBO, Max, DC Studios, gaming, and all studio libraries. And and then all their legacy media is going to be going to Discovery Global. So this is going to include cable networks like CNN, TNT, Cartoon Network, Discovery, TNT Sports, Discovery Plus, and Bleacher Report. Um, so yeah, they're going to also be reverting to the classic Warner Brothers name in terms of branding and
Begging the
Discovery.
question, what was it all for? Like, I mean, we saw this obviously with HBO Max, and then, I mean, also with, WB and Discovery. I just think about the millions wasted on the entire rebrand and all the assets that had to be created. Yeah, it's wild that like it's happening, but like maybe people will learn from this that you don't have to go through these crazy like rebrands in order to refresh your brand, and that sometimes the user and your customer is smart enough to understand what each of them mean, and that there's no need to bring everything together. It can all just be under like separate silos, and people understand that. I don't know. It kind of like brings to mind, like we were talking about Unilever earlier, right? Like imagine Unilever kind of just siloing everything to like all the soaps are just like one brand and all the shampoos are just one brand, like it just seems so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess one thing I wonder is, well, I assume this is more of just a kind of shareholder business decision, not so much a marketing decision. One thing though is I look forward to seeing what HBO will say on their social media. Maybe it'll be next year, but
Well, but it's not them, right?
no, but I'm saying it because they're owned by Warner Brothers and HBO already had their
Hmm.
HBO Max. Wait, no, it's Max. Wait, no, now it's HBO. So now they might have an opportunity to be like, well, it's Warner Brothers, but now it's Discovery Global, and then wait, but we're Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like those companies don't get or like aren't as well known. Maybe they bring the Animaniacs back for WB. That would
I
be
hope
a
so.
cool way
Yeah,
to, bring it back, right? Because that's funny because now I think about like WB, I think like, the Animaniacs, but then also like Space Jam are like very clearly the WB like sign. So that'd be interesting. But
yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I don't have high hopes for that, if we're being honest.